Hello, it is me, We Anime or Emily. I'm here to bring you part one of What If Deku had a gravity quirk. Now, a couple things before we actually start the What If. If you are new here, hi, I'm We Anime. You can call me We or We Annie. You can call me whatever you want. I don't really care. Okay? Just keep it respectable. That's all I ask. In the words that you call me. Okay? Anyways, um, I want to explain some things on how I do my what ifs and what's been going on. So, you may already know this because if you are already a subscriber of mine, you would know I've been having uploading issues for quite a bit now. Um, I'm not, it's not fun. But yeah, I've been having uploading issues, so this is actually my second time recording this, and that will be the case for my what ifs this week. Um, I've explained a lot in previous videos, well, a previous video. If you wouldn't mind, go check that out. Uh, like, like it's help update please PLS. Go please check that out. I would greatly appreciate it if you did. Um, let's see what else is there. Background noise might be apparent. Because of the fact that there might be echoing at my recording place is quite echoey, so I'll try my best to keep it at the minimum. Okay. I do impressions semi. I mostly just change my voice around to fit the character I am speaking as. Okay. Um, if you have either a question you want to ask me or um a what if idea, put them down below. Um, yeah. Oh, what if? How I do my what ifs. So I do a little bit of the backstory of the art, this Izuku's backstory, and then a little like I'll explain the backstory, and then go into a part like a scene of it, and maybe multiple scenes of the backstory. That will be probably recalled later on in the what if. Either way, trying to think. Uh, and then we'll actually get into the series of My Hero Academia. Hopefully today. We hopefully actually start it. Um, because the first time we recorded this, we actually didn't start it. Um, it, we just, yeah, you get my point. Um, I have two other what ifs going on with this one. One every Monday and Friday and Wednesday. Monday, Wednesday, Friday is when I record them. They'll upload whenever they want. I can't control that. Okay? I can't. So, I'm sorry. Um, uh, I have socials other than this. Um, I have X and Instagram. They're both at We Anime, except for X. Well, X is We Anime Real, all caps. So if you want to follow me there, I'd greatly appreciate it. Um, yeah. Um, I think. Oh, let me say this. I make my quirks on this one on in most of my videos. Okay, so I'm gonna explain this quirk now, so I don't have to later. Cool. Izuku's quirk in this is actually going to be gravity, spelt with an I instead of a Y. Um, okay. Gravity allows the user to control gravity while transmutating the fat molecules in the user's body. To create the gravity the user controls also yeah. So basis point is he used the fat molecules in his body to create the gravity that he controls. And his eyes glow when uh, he is actively using the quirk, and over time they will just actively turn purple. So in the beginning, like when he's a child, he'll have like brown eyes, okay? And then over time, by the start of the series, he will have purple eyes. Okay. If the user uses too much fat molecules, the user's gravity will decrease in weight, meaning, well, or increase depending on what they're doing. If they're trying to lighten an object, it will get heavier and heavier to hold up with the gravity. So it's basically a countermeasure, not a countermeasure, like a setback, right? Just a thing that sets back on the user. A, a, a weakness, it would be technically called a weakness. So if they're trying to keep an opponent down, it's going to lighten up over time over using not fat, what? Fat molecules, and increase if they're trying to lighten it. That will put more strain on their actual muscles. Um, right. Uh, right. The user's body will also start to feel sluggish and heavy, making it harder to breathe, to walk, run. The whole entire basis of that, right? So you get my point. It will just overly make him weaker over time. Okay. A lot of you must be asking, why do you have Fugitoria as a thing? Clickbait. People will click on a video if it has like an anime character on it. So genuine premise. I also couldn't really think of another character to use. So yeah, boom. Um, I should also mention. Well, actually, I'll just get into his looks later, his appearance. So without a further ado, let me get my a drink of water, and then we can get into this. Oh, sorry. I need to say one thing, and that is I don't use scripts for this. My what ifs, I do it completely off the top of my head. Okay? So if I stutter or go quiet for a minute, I'm just thinking on what to say next. I thought I mentioned that before we actually start the video. Okay. Um, Miss Uraraka, you're going to have twins. Wait, I thought I was only going to have one child, a girl. I thought you said that. Um, as you know, we used a person's quirk who he wasn't feeling good that day, so he only sensed one. He couldn't go farther enough in the X-ray or ultrasound, I mean, to actually see both babies. So you're going to have two. Wait. We can't take care of two. It's hard enough to take care of ourselves. Well, I guess you don't have to keep both of them. Um, I mean, you could always send one to the orphanage. Fine. When did he pass out? As soon as we were about to start, he passed out on the couch. Of course. So, let's get this over with. But you're not even. Oh, I can get him out. That sounds wrong. Time would go by and both babies would be crying. Miss Oraka. Yes. Um, which one do you want to? Oh, keep the girl. Since he's still asleep. He doesn't have a word. So, I'll keep the girl. The boy will tough it out. Okay. Well, um, let's get these two cleaned up, nurses, and then we'll bring back in your girl. And yeah, the one nurse would stay in there, and the doctor and the other nurse would go and clean up the babies. The doctor would come back and hand no, Mrs. Oraka, the baby. So you want to give uh, it what we need its name. Oh, Ochako. The boy. I don't care. Okay. Well, um, I'll leave you two to be. Um, nurse. Yes. Sir, please wake up Mr. Orako and then exit the room. Okay. Oh, Miss Oraka, when you are ready, um, click the button and then we'll get you right to go. Uh, okay. Okay. Thank you, doctor. No problem. Stupid big time. Well, years would go by since that day. Izuku would be around 5 at the moment. He would be in a quite large orphanage, right? It would have a couple floors, around 3 floors, roof access, right? Since it would be quite large, right? Okay. Quite a lot of kids in it. Um, Caretakers here and there. Children would be playing, but that playing would turn into a fight with Izuku and a 13-year-old who being the son of the owner of the orphanage. The son would be around 13-ish in age, early teens, right? So he still hasn't gotten control of his tongue, and well, he would say something about Izuku that wouldn't bode well with him. And so they got into a fight. One that would turn very violent very quickly. After Izuku would jump on the kid and start just scratching all over him, the kid would grab Izuku and throw him over the shoulder down onto the ground hard. This would be outside. Caretakers would be wouldn't be watching at the very moment, but he would be thrown to the ground hard, losing his breath. It would turn black for him for a moment, but then the next thing he would know, he would be wrapped in a hug and trying to be pushed out of a purple like circle range that would be like pushing down hard on the four people that would be in it. Two caretakers and the two children that would have been in the fight. Um, yes, it does push down onto Izuku, but not as much as the others. See, given the weight Izuku has, like, he uses corresponds to his own weight and the amount of fat molecules that he uses to produce this one thing. And he's 5 years old and he's like 30 pounds. And Bro is like thin as a grass blade. Bro's small, scrawny, like he doesn't eat much either way. No matter like what bribery you give him, he doesn't eat a lot. Like he'll eat just about any food, but he doesn't eat a lot of food. So he's quite small, quite scrawny, right? Skinny, thin. You get my point. So it wouldn't be like a lot of pounds pushing down on them, right? But it would still be enough to be like, oh, so this is this kid's quirk. Like they could tell nearly immediately that it is his quirk and he's doing it. Um, but eventually, after he would become conscious to this, it would stop, and the people who would be like on their knees, being the caretakers himself, would like tumble to the ground. Izuku still wrapped in a hug by a caretaker that is mostly the only one that isn't rude to him, right? See, everyone has been quite rude to him over the years because on multiple occasions, this like him going with quotation marks unconscious to himself, where it kind of goes black, and then a little bit later he would realize, oh, I just hurt a kid. Like, it's weird. It's like one of those rage moments in anime where everything goes black for the it's kind of like Naruto and his Kurama like state, like in the beginning before he gets like KCM. So when he goes like blank eyes and gets all the Kurama chakra and like goes tailed beast mode, that's kind of what it is, but not really. That's the best like comparison to it I could think of at the moment. He's just very angry. He has anger issues, angry, and yeah. But this time it would be way worse because he actually activated, well, awakened his quirk, and it has something to do with gravity. Hmm. These two kids would be separated by quite a bit. The kid who actually used his quirk on and scratched him up would actually have to be brought to the hospital because of broken bone, like a broken bone and maybe a couple like cracked, maybe a cracked rib and like a cracked like wrist. See, his left like arm was broken, but only in one place. It's like the upper arm. It would only be broken in one place, and his right wrist would be cracked, and a rib on the left arm would also be cracked. Sorry, I've been very congested, and it's been bothering me, so I'm sorry if you hear me blowing my nose. So, after being calmed down, after he would stop crying because of the fact that he hurt the only caretaker that actually liked him, um, he would be brought to a quirk doctor. And while they were at the hospital as well, she would be checked on. No, no injuries for her. Okay, just maybe a bruise from like she fell on a rock as she fell to the ground. Okay, maybe just like a bruise or two, maybe on her knees because of the weight being pushing her down. But that's it, just bruises. Then that's when Izuku would get evaluated for a quirk, a quite strong quirk as at that. The caretaker, who would be quite young, around her mid 30s, maybe like 34, 36 in that range. Her name would be Rin. Um, Dark green hair at the roots that would slowly go into light blue hair tied up in a ponytail, two bangs caressing her face. She would have a couple tattoos, like a shoulder tattoo that would go down to like her bicep, the end of her bicep on her left arm, and a blackout tattoo on her forearm. But she would normally wear like long sleeves so nobody could really see them. But she would like roll up her sleeves at some point and to show Izuku like, these are cool, right? And he would say, whoa. That's really how she would calm him down, like have him stop crying and just have him really just calm down. She really enjoyed the kid's company. She like liked the kid a lot. She thought it was unfair to the fact that he really shouldn't be treated like this. It isn't his fault that he's like this. It's his parents and them leaving him at the hospital, and the fact that the other caretakers doesn't really like him because of the fact that he gets angry and it kind of just makes him snap. This would go on for a while. Izuku would be in that orphanage for the next 10 years, right? And I want to state this, um, UA in this one is a university, so they will be 18, okay? Cool. Izuku would not really change over the years. Um, his anger still now bothered him because knowing about the fact why this is coming, it would really change him, but he would hide these changes from Rin and anyone else that would come to like him. Um, with permission of the of Rin and the other caretakers who would just agree with it, go along with what would come next, just because hey, we don't really care what he does. We honestly want him to leave, but who cares? He would actually go get his hair dyed, his entire bangs. I'll explain his look. His look will not change up to university. This will actually be his look for the entire series. So I besides actually no, it probably won't change much in the time skip after at the final. But either way, this is what he would look like. Now given the height will change. He'll become a little taller than I say now. So Izuku currently is 5'5", 5'5", which I believe is 160-ish in centimeters, I believe. I think. I'm not entirely certain of that, but I'm pretty sure. He would have a more bulky build than he would have when he was younger. Um, his medium length hair that would go past his jawline, but not at his neck, maybe mid neck length. His bangs would cover his forehead. That his bangs is actually what he would dye to purple, right? He would dye his hair his bangs purple, and that's it. And maybe once he was older, um, he might get tattoos because, well, I mean, maybe when he's 18, maybe he will. He's been talking about them he wants them so much. He would usually keep his hair slicked back semi, and it would kind of just flow down. Mostly the forehead. His bangs would just he would just keep his hair slicked back most of the time, but not all the time. He would just leave it in a ponytail with his bangs down a lot of the times as well. Right? As he would grow more and more, I he would be 15 at the moment, and well, the day he would return from high school would be one of the worst days of his life. He'd be walking home, purple bag, um, the school uniform. He would just keep on saying, I hate this clothing. It's so uncomfortable. I can't wait to change clothes. As he would return, opening the door, he could already feel the sadness in the air. Um, as Mr. Well, he would call him, because Mr. Shinotori was quite nice to him after he would apologize for hurting his son. He would be, he would have a job by this point. He would be out of here. Mr. Shinotori would walk up to him and hug him as he would say, um, you wouldn't mind coming to my office, would you? Well, my space, my quarters. Um, yeah, why? Um, well, I'll tell you when you're in there. He would walk in and Izuku would follow. Mr. Shinotori would sit down, as then he would say, "Oh, um, Rin wasn't that old when Izuku would get his quirk examined. That's how old she would be now. She was like 26 back then. Okay, so she's 26. Well, was 26. Now 36, mid 30s. Mr. Shinotori would continue as he would say, um, I shouldn't be the one telling you this. So, um, so I'll have Officer Tsukauchi here say it for me. Hello, Izuku, right? That's Yeah, that's my name. Um, well, two things. This envelope is from someone, and he would just slide it onto the table to Izuku. He would actually have two. He would slide them both, and then he would continue. Um, I know you like this Rin, right? Yeah, I mean, he was one of the only characters that actually liked me. Um, okay. She passed away today during the during a attack. A villain attack. Um, she was crushed by rubble, and heroes couldn't get to her in time. Izuku would just kind of pause, eyes would grow wide, and something would switch in his head, but he wouldn't realize it just yet. then Tsuchiuchi would, I'm butchering his name, I'm sorry, but he would continue and say, those two envelopes are, um, well, from her family and from her herself. Even though Heroes couldn't get to her in time to actually save her, um, paramedics got to her, but it was too late. But she was alive and not long enough to say those words in the envelope right there. The first one I handed you. The second one is from her family, um, who couldn't be here today to actually say the words to you. So, yeah, I don't know what to say. Um, I'm sorry for your loss. Izuku would sit there silently unmoving as Officer Sukauchi would exit the room and exit the entire building. Mr. Shinotori would say, um, I'm sorry, but I want to say this. She loved you dearly. She actually wouldn't really. When you arrived here, when you were still in like an infant, she would hold you day through night. Now, I'll say this straight to your face because I know the other caretakers won't. We all were scared and hated you because of the things that you do, which we now know. Um, we shouldn't have blamed you for it, and we shouldn't even gave you the names that we did. So if you need anything, come to me, okay? Um, I'll give you a key to this door, well, to the main doors, okay, just in case. Um, you already have a key to your room, so I already have extras. There you go. Um, I'm sorry. Izuku would still be silent. You grab both envelopes, the set of the three keys, which would be to his office, but he would have to knock first before actually unlocking it, just in case he wasn't in there, to the front door. Well, no, not his office. No, why would it be his office? Front door, back door, and roof access. Because you must forget, why would you give a child that just lost somebody roof access? It has a fence around it, okay? And that's where Ren and Izuku would mostly hang out. While it would be like time everyone to go outside, they would actually head to the roof instead. So it could be like by themselves and they could hang out. He would head up there and just sit there silently looking at the two envelopes. He would first to decide to read the families, the alias, no, alias? Yeah, let's go alias. That's a cool name. The alias family. Um, there would be three paragraphs because there were only, well, the two parents, father, mother, and another sister, um, of Rin's. They would all have a paragraph saying things about her and how she would only really talk about when they would ask him, well, ask Rin on what happened today. Rin would say she would mostly just talk about Izuku and things like that. And yeah, they would even say this is the funeral date. Please come by, and they would just be like that. And the next note, it would be very short. Well, because of the fact that they didn't have enough time to really write much. The note would be, I'll do a gist of it, and the last sentence would be, well, there would be like the second to last. The last two sentences I will actually read. I don't have it written down. I just thought of it earlier. Okay, sorry. The actual note would be like three sentences. It would be the gist of, "Hey, Izuku, I'm sorry I couldn't stay around a little longer with you and watch you fully grow up. Um, I wish I could have stayed around, and I wish we could have gotten those um same tattoos that we were talking about. And thank you for being such a wonderful kid to me." The other ones actually didn't really like me, um, saying I was weird and gross because of my quirk and all my tattoos and piercings and stuff like that. But you never thought I was weird, so thank you. I'll save a seat for you. Izuku would continue, well, he would just hold that note to his chest. He wouldn't leave the roof. Still in his school uniform. He would just sit up there and sit up there for hours and hours at a time. Midnight would roll by into the next morning. He would stay up there quietly weeping. He didn't have to go to school the next day, so he just stayed up there and stayed up there. A year would go by of him constantly, well, his process would be go to school, get back to the orphanage, go either to his room or to the roof. Sorry. It would be halfway into the second year, so he's 17 or going to be 17 this year at it, that is, right? And he would be thinking one day as he'd be walking back to the orphanage, nearly there, just like 3 miles or so, and he would be there. He decided to walk back today instead of taking a bus, just mostly so that he could just walk and think. And he knew it was supposed to rain today, so that's why he brought his jacket, this white jacket that would be like the sleeves would end at or it would go longer, but he just keeps them usually rolled up when he would wear this jacket out. Um, he would see the dark clouds in the sky, and so he would keep the jacket ready to quickly throw on, and so he would run. But then he would be pulled into an alleyway and then surrounded by around 20 people his age. You'd actually recognize most of them. Um, all these people would be from his school. His school would be quite large, too. Um, right. High school that would hold middle school and high school together. Okay. Not a very smart idea, but they did it anyways. So it'd be quite large. Uh, okay. So these kids would be varying from like freshmen to seniors and basically the entire like 4 years of high school would be here. And then like one or two like higher, like nearing middle school, not nearing middle school, nearing high school, like middle schoolers, like nearly there, but not yet. Izuku would have quite dead looking eyes and bags under his, well, not bags, but shadows, because uh you'd be reminded of the fact, well, it would be around the same like time that Rin passed, and so anytime this day comes around or he thinks of it, he does, I mean, clearly get sad and he doesn't really sleep either. So he didn't sleep the previous night that much. Either way, he would be surrounded by 20, 15-ish, like 20-ish people, maybe less or more, give or take. These people would just ramble on about them just dogging on, like, being like trashy to Izuku, reminding them of his past and what happened 2 years ago, and multiple other things. Then one would come around and just strike him on the back of the head. He then Izuku would say, well, he wouldn't say anything. He would just quickly turn around and hit this one guy in like the nose, breaking it, and he would just fall back into two other people, and then the rest would just jump him, stomp him to the ground. Izuku may get another like two or three hits in before the numbers would catch up, and he would just be beaten to the ground, knocked out. He would definitely have broken bones, bloody nose. I he thinks, well, he wouldn't be conscious, but after becoming conscious and rain dripping on him, and soon after turning into a shower, Izuku would come to the conclusion that maybe one of his eardrums was busted. He can't really tell at the moment, since things are kind of still blurry and buzzing. But his left ear would be ringing at the moment, so he would be a definite, like, yeah, I think something's up with my ear. He would stand up, seeing his bag and stuff just thrown to the side and not messed with, weirdly. Like, nothing is really messed with. They didn't touch his stuff. They only really came for him. So, yeah. He'd go over and just put the white jacket on and over his stuff and zip it up, and then grabbing his bag, and he would attempt to walk out of there, but his leg, like, hurts a lot, so it might be like either dislocated or broken. He doesn't really know, nor does he really care. All the pain was just a reminder that this world is just full of garbage people, and no one would be the same. Everyone was just garbage. No one really cared about anyone else but themselves. He would be walking on the sidewalk, no one outside, no heroes around. There was never heroes around this place anyways. Not that much anyway. Well, not much, but eh, what could he do? He would just limp all the way near, like maybe a half a mile in, and then he would hear a voice say, "Well, well, well." Look what we have here, boys. We got someone with some money. Maybe. You got money you could spare us. Pretty boy. He would just turn back and then just turn away and start limping back. And then the voice would say, and footsteps would follow, and Izuku would be pushed down to the ground and falling to his side and just laying there. Just as a foot would reach and step on his face, the voice would say, now, you just don't go around ignoring me, okay? You see, that's when we got issues. And he would hold out his left palm, and at the bottom of it, kind of like a hidden blade from Assassin's Creed, a blade would just jet out of his like palm, uh, like a couple feet in length. The other hand would be holding a like a firearm. You see, I need that money, okay? And as he would just start to rub his boot on Izuku's face. Okay? So either you're gonna give us money, or we're gonna start beating you and maybe take some things as well. Okay? And then he then would kick Izuku, and the guy would send him flying a little farther, skidding. Izuku would raise up to his knees, spitting, spitting. Sorry, I can't speak. He would stare at the three people as he then would like act like he was gonna reach and take off his bag. In reality, he would just hold up his palm and say, "Leave me alone." As a purple like dome, not a purple dome, like a purple like tube cylinder. That's the word. Would just push down on these three. They would fall to the ground hard as he would just let his arm fall, as he would say, "Leave me alone." And he would turn back and just start limping back. And then the gun would fire. A searing pain would go across Izuku's right leg as the bullet would go through, just tearing a quite a bit off of just the side of the leg, as it would kind of graze him and just ride his leg as it would then just go off. Izuku would instinctively grab the wound and just fall, just trying to squeeze it, as then he would start to squirm. His quirk would deactivate, as then the three people would rush up and then just start stomping and kicking Izuku's downed bloody body. And then finally The man with the firearm would say, "Well, I guess we don't have to keep you alive." He then would hold out the firearm to Izuku's head. Izuku would just close his eyes, and in his head he would say, "I'll be able to see her again, finally." He would hold it there, finger on the trigger, until he would be about to pull it. A scarf would wrap around his wrist and pull it this way. His entire body would fly, then crashing into a wall. And then the other two would begin to activate their quirks. The one's palm would begin to glow brightly as the other one would have like nails about to grow long, and I don't know what is he gonna do with it? No. As then he would say, well, the man wouldn't say anything, but in the dark, through the goggles, bright red eyes would shine, hair would fly upwards, as then he would move. A car would pull up, come to a stop, as a woman with green hair and a orange like bandana would come running out and would start running, as the man with the nail like quirk would turn around, as the woman then would say, "Here comes the punchline!" Rock, rocking him, rocking him across the jaw. His jaw would kind of like just, it would break, just crack. His head would snap to the side as his body would fall. Aizawa, well, we already know who they are. They're Miss Joke and Eraserhead. They would, Aizawa then would knock out the final guy and rush up to Izuku, who would just be closing his eyes, and he didn't really know what was happening. He could hear stuff happening, a voice say, "Here comes a punchline," and mm, he doesn't really know what would happened, and he didn't feel comfortable of opening his eyes, so he just did it. As he then would feel a hand on his neck, well, fingers checking a pulse that he would have. Then the voice would say, "Hey, turn over. Let us see the wound." Blood would just be on his hand, and just they would be able to see it seeping through. He would be forcefully turned over, um, as Aizawa then would say, "Joke, I got it. I'll go get it. Keep holding that like it is. I need to call the police and bring a paramedic for you." He would hold up his phone, dial numbers, and ring, and the police would answer, and well, he would say, "Pro here, Eraserhead." He would say the location, saying that we need like police cars, maybe a van, most likely a van, just to start the three people into one. And then he would say, "We need a ambulance." And eventually they would arrive. The paramedics, well, the police would arrive first to see the three people already wrapped up and like tied up with like zip ties, right? Then paramedics would arrive a little bit after. The rain would lighten up a little bit for a moment. Sun wouldn't shine. Mostly because it is nearing dark. Either way, as the paramedics would check on him, they would, as someone would be sewing up, like quickly sewing it up, another paramedic would say, um, "We need to get him to the hospital because he is clearly more injured than we previously thought." Izuku would just say, "I'm fine." "No, you aren't, kid." "Yeah, just quit moving. I need to do quit. Would you quit moving, child? I need to do this, but I need to finish some stitches as best I can at the moment." "I'll be fine." He would stand up. The person that would be doing the like stitches would say, "Someone grab him." "I'll be fine. I've dealt with worse on my own." He would be nearly out of the ambulance before um Miss Joke and Aizawa hearing this. Miss Joke would say, "Officer, I'll be right back. I'll go get the story." And "Kid, good Lord, get back in here," is what they would hear as a hand would reach out of the ambulance and out of the door, and just a person with half of a leg of like a like pants leg is what I mean. Uh, would walk out, just jump out, hit the ground as the lady paramedic would jump out. The, the kid would just stand up weirdly quick. "Kid, stop it. Would you help me, please?" Yeah. "Kid, hold on. You're injured. Hey, hello. You paying attention?" He would just start to just drag his leg as he would walk, just ignoring the pro hero and the paramedic. Blood would just drag down his leg as he would be dragging an entire like roll of like stitches and the needle, which would still be in his leg, but he would just drag himself. "Hey, please stop. At least let us finish the stitches." A male paramedic with a mouse quirk, like you can see he has like the little ears, gray ears with the pink inside, the nose. Well, no, he would have a human nose, but whiskers. like a mouse tail, he would have like the roll of stitches, just rolling them back up as they would walk. The third paramedic would just get in the, just close the doors and just drive following him. And these three adults following the child, um, as I would say, um, I'll get the story to you. You're fine, Eraser. We could just assume. And plus, from what you have said, from what you think the story is, we'll be fine enough for now. Um, but we will need that story at some point before, before putting these three into custody, to jail. So as quick as you can, but don't make it a big priority. Make that kid's health the priority for now. And once you get the story, that will be fine enough. Okay. I'll get it to you at some point. Okay. Thank you. No problem. Well, no problem. He would run around the building, hop into, well, no, he would just hop into the black car beside them and he would just follow along in the chain of vehicles. Well, the two vehicles and the chain of people. Um, man, man, kid, stop. I'm tired of rolling this. And then the female paramedic would just turn back to the male one and say, "Quit it, squeakers. That's not my name. I'm sorry that I complain about this stuff. You didn't let me have my lunch. You stole it. Not my fault. Your cheese looked good. It wasn't even just cheese. It was Alfredo." Really, Alfredo? Not like rice and... No. Sorry that I like cheese and chicken noodles. So good. Stop messing with me. Then stop complaining about following the injured child. Can't you just tackle him down? No, that would be hurting him worse. Then, like, put him in a bear hug. Then Miss Joke would say, "Isn't that a orphanage?" "Oh, the Sheenatori orphanage. Yeah, we've been here a couple. Well, my boss, he told me stories about this place. Um, Weird things used to happen here with a young kid. Um, he had like weird anger issues and stuff like that. Um, he like had rage. I don't know. Some girl explained it to him, and I don't know. A couple times they've been here, and then Izuku in a lower tone would say, "That was me." Like maybe too low to the fact that maybe no one heard them. But the one with the mouse quirk would say, "That was you? Wait, that was you?" Yeah. Then could you stop? No, I gotta make it back. Uh, they're probably not worried though. Now, given this time wasn't my fault, but they blame me. Blame me for what? A fight between me and another kid. It doesn't matter. They blame me though. like they usually do. Oh, my nose hurts. You could just let us check on you instead of making this more difficult. I'll be fine. I don't think you will be. More blood's draining like out of your leg. Closer and closer to the orphanage. That would be called Shinatori's orphanage. The Shinatori orphanage is what it actually is. Nearly at the door is when things would definitely get more blurry than they had to. As in, he would just collapse onto the grass, the wet mud, just collapsing there as the female paramedic and Miss Joke would rush up to go check on him. He would just be lying there, open eyes, tears just rolling out of his eyes as he would have them shut. The tears would just still be rolling out. A silent, whimpery cries what would be happening. Miss Joke would set him up, wrap him in a hug, and then look to the female paramedic and say, "Hey, let's get him in there." As the other paramedic would be right there and would open up the back doors, get the stretcher. They would raise him up well, on the like carrying board on there, set him down. Um, well, at first they would go to, and he wouldn't it would be yeah, it wouldn't be a back hug, like hugging him from the back. It'd be like a hug, right? He wouldn't let go, Miss Joke, like out of the hug, as he still silently whimpering, like crying. So they would raise him up on there. She would hold his hand, and well, then she would get a call from Aizawa saying, well, she would explain what's happening and tell him to meet them at the hospital. But before that, go inside and tell, well, call them and tell them what's going on. Since they still haven't done that yet, eventually on the trip to the hospital, Izuku would go unconscious. Um, the next day would go by and they would get the um, everything situated and good to go. Miss Joke then would say to Aizawa, she would say, "So, can we?" "No, not yet at least." "Come on, come on, I want to adopt him." Who? The purple-haired kid. We already got a purple-haired kid. The other one, the one we met at the Shinatori, um, orphanage. Please? Maybe. We'll ask. Is he even awake? Yeah, I already went in there. I may have already told him. Um, you did not tell him that we were adopting him, did you? Um, no, definitely not. Really, Emmy. Really? Okay, fine, I did. Thought you'd be way easier to convince. Since we already have Shinso, I mean Hitoshi, I thought maybe we could get another one. A brother for him of sorts. You're so difficult sometimes. Why did you already tell him that we would when you had no idea if we could or would? Because he explained some things, and the owner of the orphanage, when he arrived, he explained all of the things with Izuku, and it's very sad. Miss Joke then would go on to explain all of Izuku's issues and everything like that to Aizawa, explaining all of this would make Aizawa realize something. He is just a broken kid who doesn't have a real home. Not even the orphanage really likes him. He's broken. I mean, currently in more ways than one, since he does have a broken like orbital bone, like the bone right beside your eyeball. That's kind of that broke. Uh, with the fight, well, the beat down of the 20 people that broke. Yeah, fine. Wait, really? We are? I mean, we gotta talk to the owner. Oh, I should also mention he has tattoos. What? Isn't he like 15? He's actually 17. Well, now at this point, since it is the next day. Um, I mean, not really 17. It's not like he is like turning 17 in like a couple days. Fine, whatever. Let's fine. God. I don't know how you drag me into these type of things. It's because you love me. I'm starting to question the reason why I do. What is that supposed to mean? I think we both know. Is Mr. Shinatori still here? Oh yeah, he's in there with him. I think they're talking. Miss Joke would then walk away and start to go into the room. As I then would say, "Wait, you said he had tattoos?" Yeah. See, he would have three. On his left shoulder, he would have a just a shoulder tattoo that would go down to his bicep. It would be of space, stars just shining in the endless world with a red planet with a ring around it. One of the stars would be in the shape of a broken heart, but the next one would be a another star would be a full heart. That would go around all of his like bicep, like a and on his shoulder, and a little bit like on the back of his shoulder. Then the other one would be at the like not the top of his back, like where his neck joint is, but a little bit below that, it would be a eyeball with wings on the like side of it. This is the tattoo that him and Rin said that they would both get once Izuku would reach the age of 18. They would both get this tattoo with the person's like the correlating person's like eye color as the like iris. This time it's being blue and half of it not blue, half of it is purple, the other half is green. And then he would have a blackout tattoo on his calf. Like his entire calf is a blackout tattoo. I want a blackout tattoo so bad in like real life. They are so cool to me. Like so very cool. Like so cool, dude. So cool. I love them. They're so cool. Time would go by. They would talk that day to Mr. Shinatori and to Izuku. And then a couple days later, Izuku would be let out of the hospital. And once he would return to the orphanage, two people in regular clothing, like civilian like clothing, would be there, sitting there across from Mr. Shinatori talking. Mr. Shinatori would look past them to out of his office, out of a window. As he would raise his hand, he would wave in Izuku, who would knock at the door, as Mr. Shinatori would say, enter. He would do so. Uh, Hi again. Hey, guess what we're doing? Uh, Talking to Mr. Shinatori. Yes and no. Um, how about we say it together? No. They would just, Miss Joke would just stare into Aizawa's eyes. Fine. At the same time, they would say, we're adopting you. At the same time, as we do a cutaway. Death, death, death. No, I'm joking. But yeah, that's where I'm going to end it here for today. It's nearing 2 hours. So yeah, how about no? Anyways, yeah, that's where I'm going to end it here for today. Next time we'll actually get into the start of UA and maybe the USJ, depending on the time. That will fully depend on time. Okay. So yeah, I thank you all for watching very much. I hope you all enjoyed this video. And yeah, I hope to see you all next time. Roll the dice. Bye.